Okay, so welcome to the webinar. Tonight we're going to talk about the secret to getting quality leads through Google Pay-Per-Click or Google Adwords. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Facebook too, but for the most part we're going to concentrate on Google Adwords. And just so you know, we have experience in both, and they're very, very, very different animals. And just as a kind of an insightful thought, Facebook is a much more complicated process than Google Pay-Per-Click is, although they both can be complicated in themselves. So anyway, just want to get that kind of out there. We're going to talk a little bit about both. And my name is Valerie Van Boeven, by the way. For those of you who don't know me, I am a managing partner and owner of LTC Expert Publications. My business partner is George Novison. He may be joining us tonight to kind of just listen in. The way we run our webinars is this. We do not take questions during the webinar, so you can raise your hand, you can scream and jump and shout and do anything you want. We just don't take, we try to get all the way through the webinar, and at the end I will take all the questions and answers. So my recommendation to you is, if you look at your little controller there that you have that's for GoToWebinar, this should be on your screen somewhere. If you look at that, there's a little place where you can type in questions. You can type in a question anytime you want. You do not have to wait till the end of the webinar. So if I touch on something and you have a question about it and you're not sure, you're going to forget it, you can either jot it down on a sheet of paper or you can just go ahead and type your question in. We have lots of folks who are on different kinds of audio, so it's easier if I just read the questions and give you the answers. And so I would encourage you at any time to type your questions in, and then at the end of the webinar I will go through every single question. And it's kind of like chat, so it's in real time. So if I didn't answer your question correctly, you can always add to that or whatever. So use the questions feature on this webinar, and please type in your questions. And so let's go ahead and get started. We are recording this, by the way, and I will send the recording out to everybody. I already did introductions. We're going to talk about what pay-per-click is. I'm not going to get into the real down and dirty basics because I assume that most of you who are business owners by now know what pay-per-click is. We are going to talk about the benefits of pay-per-click, the ultimate goal, and the biggest part of this webinar today is talking about the secrets to turning clicks into leads into clients. And that's really what you want. And I think I'm going to show you some things you may already know, but a lot of things in this webinar are stuff that you probably didn't know before. So we'll try to keep it running smooth. I go a little quick, but again, it'll be effective use of your time, and I will send you the recording. So what is pay-per-click? Now, unless you're living in a cave, you know that Google AdWords and Google's probably between Google and YouTube, they are the largest search engines on the planet, and Google owns YouTube. And there are lots of ways you can do pay-per-click in the online universe, and one of those is Google AdWords, and it's probably the biggest moneymaker for pay-per-click. So you can see this little diagram here just shows you what pay-per-click is. Anything in the middle of the screen is typically your natural search engine results. Anything on the side of the screen or in the top that's kind of an off shade, when that appears, that is all pay-per-click. People are paying for the privilege to be there. And as Google has changed their algorithms and has also changed the way local search is executed, meaning that you have Google Maps showing up in there now. We're going to maybe go to some of that live if we have time. Your pay-per-click options have decreased a little bit. You have to spend a little bit more to be in the top tier of Google pay-per-click because the map for Google local search takes up a lot of space. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Now, this is a really wordy slide, but I just wanted to get to some of the benefits. Any of you who know me or who know us know that our focus typically and almost always is natural search engine results. 70% of people who are doing a search online for any kind of information are going to look at the natural searches first. 25% are going to look at the pay-per-click. The difference, though, for some clients and for some folks is that you, all of you want an instant lead. Who doesn't want an instant lead? That's awesome. What icing on the cake is that? Natural search engine results have to be done correctly, and they take time. It's not an overnight success. It's not instant gratification. So in order to butter our bread between the time natural search engine results start taking effect and what we need, which could be anywhere from a couple months to 6 months, what do we do? And sometimes that means we use Google AdWords. Sometimes it means in really competitive markets we use Google AdWords forever. It just depends on who you are, what your budget is like, and how much business you currently have, how long you've been in the business. There's so many variables there. But the benefits in general of pay-per-click are this. Increased visibility, obviously. Keyword selection provides a targeted audience who are more likely interested in your products or services. Easy, quick, and effective way to reach a wider audience. Increases website traffic, of course. No minimum spending requirement. Yes, you can spend $1 million if you'd like. You are only charged if a user clicks on your pay-per-click ad. Ads can be instantly adjusted to changes in product competition, etc. Very true. Begin driving traffic to your website in minutes. Absolutely. Instant return on investment statistics. Absolutely. Each dollar is spent directly on advertising, marketing exposure on other premier and well-known websites. That's very true too. And able to run seasonal and promotional pay-per-click ads at no additional cost. All of that is very true. And there are lots of benefits to pay-per-click. You just have to know what you're doing and stay within your budget. So what is the ultimate goal of pay-per-click? There's only one goal that you should have in your head, and that is conversion. It doesn't matter what you do in this world for advertising. If it doesn't produce a client for you, a paying client, then there's really not much sense in doing it. So conversion is the ultimate goal for pay-per-click. And I'm going to show you this diagram again, but this is what a conversion rate is. Your conversion rate is how many of these guys on the left-hand side, all these people searching the internet who see your web page, turn into these guys over here on the right-hand side. And that's your goal. And your goal could be anything. It could be that you want them to place an order, you want them to subscribe to your newsletter, or fill out a form to get a free report, or you want them to reach out to you to talk to you about their needs for elder care issues. Whatever that is, whatever your goal is for that page, that is what you base your conversion rate on. So, and that's expressed as a percentage. We'll talk about conversion rate again, but that's the ultimate goal. So number one, we're going to just kind of go through these. These are the secrets to getting the best conversion rate. So this is what other folks probably aren't telling you, and I'm going to have some very interesting information for you all, those of you who have talked to the Yodels and the Reach Locals of the world. You're going to get some very interesting information at the end of this webinar because I want to share with you kind of what's going on there. Okay, so the first secret is don't do it yourself unless you're an expert, and this is called the DIY fail. This is a picture of a fail of Thomas the Tank Engine failing. My children were very interested in this picture and didn't understand what was wrong with this picture. So it's just a little funny for me. The do-it-yourself fail. Don't do it yourself unless you're an expert, because I have seen this many times just kind of as a favor, going into a client's pay-per-click account and straightening it out a little bit, making them optimize, and of course not in the past, many years ago, not charging a dime for it, and even recently, but saving them tons of money by just making a few quick changes. There are some things that we do when we're not experts in the field of internet marketing that we think we can just kind of set it and forget it, and really that costs us a lot of money. So please don't do it yourself unless you're an expert. The secrets to getting the best conversion rates, number 2, is keyword research. Now, I bet that everybody here who's on this call or on this webinar thinks that they know what their main keyword sets are, and you would be surprised at the different variations in keywords for each one of you out there. Whether we're working with natural search engine results or we're doing a pay-per-click campaign for someone, we always, 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 always want to make sure that we use tools outside of Google AdWords, inside of Google AdWords, and et cetera, to look at keyword results and to look at your competition in relationship to what it is that you're trying to advertise for. So your keyword, you may be a home care provider, but is home care really what people are searching, or is it elder care? If you are a, let's use an example that's kind of out there. If you're a franchise owner and you own a, let's say, right-at-home franchise, and your closest competitor is a Visiting Angels, should Visiting Angels be one of your keywords? That's an interesting question. And you need to know the answer to that. And if you don't know how to do really super in-depth keyword research, you're also throwing money out the door. So please, make sure that you understand what keyword research is. There are tools that are free that will help you, but some of the tools that we use are also ones that we pay for that give us a very competitive edge over the other folks in the industry or over your competition who may just be kind of throwing it out there doing it themselves. So be very careful with keyword research. Make sure you know exactly what your competition is doing before you enter the game, because you will get burned and you'll end up spending a lot more money than they are just to try and get ahead. Okay, number 3, write the right ad. This is super important, and as we go through here, anything highlighted in yellow or anything that I mentioned is probably a money saver. So first of all, use keywords. Keywords will appear bolded in your ad title, description, and display URL. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples here in a second. And your ad needs to have a call to action. This is usually a verb that invites the user to take the next step and is relative to your product or service, like call now or get your free report or whatever it is. There's a click here, a call to action, tell them what to do. What do they need to do to move forward? And this is a little wordy, but what I want you to understand is that when you write the right ad, you have to be very careful. You have so few characters to work with. You got to get it right, or you're going to end up having either your ad A, rejected, or B, it's going to have a low quality score, which is going to end up having it not show at all or costing you a ton of money. So you have to find a balance. There's a middle road between a boring ad that generates no interest and the ad that's so unbelievable that it turns off potential customers. And you got to speak their language. Don't use your language. Don't use medical language. Don't use lawyer language. Don't use plumber language. Use language that appeals to your potential customers. They not only understand what you're saying, but use the same language in their niche or industry. Make sure you understand that people don't know what an ADL is. An ADL is an activity of daily living. Most people don't know what that is. But I've seen ads that talk about ADLs. You can't do that. You just make sure you're using the customer's language. And a good display URL. This is so important. Do you know what a URL is? That's your website address. You can go to GoDaddy, and for, I don't know, $15 a year now, I guess it is, or $13 or whatever it is, you can buy a website address. You can go lots of places and buy website addresses. Buy one that has your keywords in it. Don't use your long, drawn-out corporate, your website address. Use one that is quick, fast, and has keywords in it all the way across. Okay, so here is a good ad. Now this is assuming that you sell a product called a blue widget. A well-written pay-per-click ad text looks like this. Need a blue widget? Try our blue widget for a great solution to your blue widget needs. acmewidget.com/blue widget. So blue widget, blue widget, blue widget. Okay, so that's a good ad. Charlotte blue widgets. Blue widgets in Charlotte. Try our blue widgets for a great widget solution in Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte.acmewidget.com. Got it. Great use of keywords. It gets the point across. It's very relevant. This is a bad use of keywords or a bad ad. Poorly written. Acme, and you're still looking for blue widgets here. Blue widget, Acme Widget Company. Our widgets are durable, custom made, and cost effective. Call us, acmewidget.com. Now that doesn't sound bad, but if what you're trying to sell is a blue widget, you've just blown it. And you're going to have a low quality score, you're going to pay higher rates, or you're going to get disapproved. One or the other. Charlotte Blue Widgets, Acme Widget Company. Our NC widgets are durable, custom made, and cost effective. CLT office, which is Charlotte's airport, acmewidget.com. Nobody knows what that means. So, CLT office. So, and there's nothing in there about blue widgets. So these are bad, poorly written ads. They're not going to get you the results you're looking for. And Google's not going to like you either. Okay, number 4, the landing page. Aha. Da-da-da. This is what we call post-click marketing, meaning what happens after they click your ad. This is just as important as the ad and the keywords that you use. In fact, this is more important, probably, in the grand scheme of things, because this is where your conversion happens. If your website sucks, your website sucks. You have to have a really good website in order to have, not a website necessarily, but a landing page in order to get the conversion you want. So on your landing page, and I'm just going to say this, if you have a website that you've had for several years, it's got lots of content on it, lots of cool stuff, lots of PDFs, lots of checklists and frequently asked questions, and don't use that. Don't use that as your pay-per-click landing page. Have a landing page created for you that is just for pay-per-click. When you turn the pay-per-click off, the landing page goes away into the night. Just have a landing page for pay-per-click. Let this be your lead generator. Your website serves a whole nother purpose. Yes, it can generate leads if it's done well. Most big websites are not designed. They're designed to be pretty, educational, blah, 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 make everybody look important or whatever, but they're not designed to get the lead. And that is all you care about in this game, is getting the lead. So on the landing page, one set of instructions. It's either a limited amount of choices on the landing page or one choice. You don't have a bunch of gobbledygook and crap they can download and this and that and go here and go there. No, 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 no. You have one set of instructions, one choice. The conversion opportunity means what is it that you want them to do? Fill out a form, click on something. What is it that you want them to do? Whatever that is, that conversion opportunity should be at the top of the page, above the fold or above the scroll line, and it should be at the bottom of the page if you need it to be there again. Eliminate as much of the navigation as possible. You don't want them to go anywhere else. Just do what I say to do, and that is click here or enter your information. And your landing page needs to be relevant. So if your ad talks about blue widgets and they get to the website and it talks about a coupon for something else, then that's not relevant at all. And that happens all the time. Or if you say, get a free da-da-da-da-da in your ad, and then they get to the website and it's trying to sell them a blue widget, those are not relevant. You're going to get, your ad's going to get turned off, you're going to have a low quality score, you're not going to have a good conversion. They have to match, 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 match. The ad has to match the landing page. Everything has to be relevant. Google is all about relevancy now. So not only in the natural search engine results, but in the pay-per-click search engine or search results. So if your ad is not relevant to the page that it's landing on, guess what? You're done. You're not going to be able to have that ad up there. You have to start over again. So make sure you have relevancy. Google doesn't want a bunch of junk advertised on their site. They want relevant, relevant, relevant stuff. So make sure you keep it relevant. Okay, here's an example of a bad landing page. Bad landing page. Too much junk, too much stuff to do, too much to click on. There's no call to action. It even says we'll break your arm on there. That's weird. But I get it. It's an arm. It's a mortgage. But this is a bad landing page. Too much junk. This is alternatively a good landing page. There is only one thing, essentially, that you can do. It's gigantic, and it's right in the middle of the page. It says, get started. There is no thousands of things to click on. It's very clear. There's or call 1-866-510-9570. So there is some options there. They're very few, and it's very clear as to what this person wants you to do. Get started. Easy. Here's another bad landing page, the International Scholarship Resource. Look at all this stuff. The text is too small. There's 1,000 things to click on. There's no call to action. They'll tell you there is, but it's just insane. So there's really, this is a bad landing page. This is a good landing page. Same kind of a business, but you can see, and there's circles there, that there are very few things to do. It's very clear. Start now, easy, smiling people. It's very separated. It kept it to a minimum. There are other things that you can click on this page, obviously, but they are very delineated and very clear. So start now. And I guarantee you that if you were to click on the left-hand side there where there's scholarships, colleges, online degrees, careers, test prep, that immediately, as soon as you get to those pages, they're going to have another gigantic call to action right in the middle of the page. So they've designed this website so that the entire site, not just the landing page, but anything else you click on, is an opportunity to generate a lead. So you don't have to go to that far. You don't have to go that far at all. You can keep it simple. But this whole website is probably designed to generate leads, every page. Okay, so you paid for the click, now what? So if you paid for the click, they've already clicked on your ad, they've headed to your landing page. You want to turn the visitor's click into a conversion, and the best way to increase your conversion rate is to make sure your landing pages directly correlate to your pay-per-click ads. That's what I've already talked about. If you're only gaining traffic, getting those clicks, without conversions, you're not getting a good return on your investment, and you're wasting your money. So if lots and lots of people are clicking on your ads, but you're not generating customers from that, or people who are subscribing to your newsletter or sending you contact information, if you're not hitting a goal each time somebody clicks on your ad, if they're just going away and disappearing into the night, then you're not getting a good return on your investment, and you're wasting your money. I guarantee you that anybody in certain markets like home care who is doing it themselves on a pay-per-click ad campaign is probably wasting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every single year on job seekers. If you need job seekers, that's awesome. But if you don't need job seekers, you have to know how to turn it off so that job seekers do not see your ads, because you're paying for them to click and click and click and click on your ad so they can fill out some form on your website to look for a job. You have to put that to a stop unless you're actually that much in need of staff. So there are ways to very much decrease your budget. You just have to work with the right people. And when I say something like that, when I refer to whether it's home care or elder law or long-term care insurance or reverse mortgages, it's the senior market and the baby boomer market. And when I refer to a situation like that about job seekers, guess what? There is no one else that's going to really sit down with you and tell you about the job seeker problem except somebody else who's worked in your industry. So when you're seeking out someone to help you with pay-per-click campaigns, make sure it's somebody that's actually worked in your industry. If you're reaching out to someone who's a generalist who knows nothing about your industry, they won't have a clue that you're getting nailed by job seekers. So be careful about who you do business with. Oh, I have to, here you go. Okay, so we're back to my little diagram real quick. And so again, your conversion rate is how many of these guys, these people over here looking at your web page, turn into these guys, the people who actually complete your goal, filling out a form, filling out a contact form, getting a free report, doing whatever it is. I mean, there's 1,000 things, getting a coupon, whatever it is that you want them to do. If they reach that goal and they do that, that is what your conversion rate is based on. So those are the things to look for. Okay, so I'm going to tell you some money savers right now, money saver tips. Google Quality Score. You probably don't know much about that. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you don't really know what it is. And here's the deal. I've kind of narrowed this down. There's more to this than I'm going to tell you, believe it or not. But I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights. Minimum bid. Minimum bids are higher, meaning you're losing money, for pay-per-click ads with a poor quality score on Google versus those with a high quality score. I'm going to tell you what determines a quality score, just some of the things in just a second. Ad ranking. A pay-per-click ad with a poor quality score will have to pay a higher cost per click than an ad with a good quality score for the same ad ranking. If you work with a company that knows what you're doing and doesn't base your results on a computer-generated algorithm all the time, then you will save money, because someone needs to look at that pay-per-click campaign every single week, especially the first few weeks it runs, if not more, sometimes every day, to see what's going on there and to make sure your quality scores are staying high. Okay, so a quality score is based on the following: keyword relevance, ad copy relevance, landing page relevance, landing page load time. If you are on a shared server and your load time is high, or you've got a gigantic, weird picture on the front and it loads really slow, you're going to have a low quality score. Click-through rate, we'll talk about that in a minute. Keyword performance history and other relevance terms that Google will not share. So your keywords, we've talked about this, has to be relevant to your ad copy, has to be relevant to your landing page, has to be relevant to the keywords on your landing page. So everything needs to match, and when you match it, you pay less per click than the dude who just slaps it up there and hopes for the best. That guy's paying full price. You may not be paying full price if you know how to take care of all this stuff. Okay, here are some tips Tip number 1, write relevant ad copy. We've already talked about that. Tip 2, make your landing page more relevant. Well, that just means make sure all the keywords match up. Number 3, improve your click-through rate. We'll talk about that. Number 4, choose a more focused keyword matching option. That means that you can say, I want to sell blue widgets with no quotation marks around it, or you can say, I want to have ads, or I want people to see my ad who absolutely don't just type in a blue or a widget. They have to type in the phrase blue widgets, and that's with the quotation marks around it, meaning you have a very strict set of parameters, and the people have to type in this exact phrase before they'll ever see your ad. So you can focus down your keyword matching options really closely. Tip number 5, restrict your pay-per-click ad exposure geographically. You can just set it to, if in our example that we used tonight, we were talking about Charlotte. So if you only want it to show up in Charlotte, you can do that. If you only want it to show up in the towns 25 miles around the geography of Charlotte, you can do that. So you can restrict it as much as you want. Tip number 6, make your website more credible. Now, the way to make your website more credible, there are lots of ways you can do that. But having a privacy policy, having a terms of service, if you're selling widgets, you might have a refund policy. There's all kinds of things you can put at the very bottom of your site so that when people click on it, they can actually see that you're not just some fly-by-night who put up some weird landing page and went on from there. You need to have some things that make your website a little bit more credible. And that's not hard to do for anybody who can put up a landing page. You just have to remember to do the little things. And then optimize your landing page. You want to make sure that the keywords or the metadata that's in your landing page match what's in your ad. So if the first word of your tags, your title, and your metadata says home page and doesn't say blue widgets, then there's not a lot of relevance there. So you have to make sure that the background stuff is done just as well as the front-end stuff. Make sure you optimize that landing page. And that's another reason why I say don't necessarily use your big giant website that you rely on for all kinds of other things. It's not necessarily required that you use a huge website for all of this, because you may not even have control over all those other little things that need to happen. It may be just as easy to put up a nice, structured, credible landing page to get the job done, and then send people onto your big website once they become, a prospect or a lead. Okay, a click-through rate. Click-through rate means, how many people click through to your ad versus how many people have actually seen the ad. So if you're going to pay less for a better ad ranking, that goes back to that quality score. You're also going to have lower minimum bids. So you're going to be paying less than the other guy if you do all the things I just told you to do. Your pay-per-click ads will remain active. If you have a terrible click-through rate, your ads are going to be disabled. You can save money. If your ads are also being used in a pay-per-impression model, you will save money by generating more clicks for the same amount of money. So there are all kinds of money savers here, and it gets a little complicated at this point. But if you do all of the kind of just common sense things that you should be doing for pay-per-click and not trying to game the system or try to, just, put it up there and never pay attention to it, if you actually pay attention and take care of your pay-per-click, you're going to pay less. Okay, outsourcing options. Of course, the first thing I told you tonight was don't do it yourself. If you're not an expert in it, make sure that you talk to somebody who is and let them manage your campaigns for you. But I caution you to do your homework first and don't believe everything you hear, because I'm going to just give you some bewares. Beware if a company charges you a $50 monthly fee to manage your pay-per-click campaigns. Guess what? They are not managing anything. A computer is. There's no human interaction except for the setup part. Beware if you're spending $50 a month management fee, but spending $600 or $800 or $1,000 plus on clicks. Companies like ReachLocal, Yodel, and anybody who has over 700 clients are making money on your clicks too, but you probably didn't know that, did you? So in other words, you think you're just paying a $50 management fee, but the reality is there's very little incentive for them to optimize fully and as much as possible to save you money on your click fees, because they make money on the clicks. If you go to Google and you type in like just type in something like a Google search on reach local pay-per-click fees. You will see that there are lots of articles out there, and Yodel probably is the same way, that talk about the fact that Google has a deal. If you have over 700 clients under your management and they are pay-per-click clients, then you can get a deal with, if you are like a Reach Local or you can get a deal and you can pay at a discounted rate for those clicks, but your client doesn't necessarily know that. So what's the incentive of getting them the best for their money when you make money every time somebody clicks through? So just beware of that. A $50 monthly fee for management is not really a $50 monthly fee. If you're paying $600 or $800 for folks for clicks every month, it's not just that $50 fee you're paying through the nose. I would imagine that in some cases, the $600 or $800 fee with a management fee that we charge plus clicks, we could get them down to $500 a month if they're at the $800 level. I'm going to guess that. And give them a landing page, which they weren't given before. So it's definitely worth your while to check into something. Even though you think it's cheap, buyer beware. Okay, so here is what to look for. Whether it's us or anybody else out there, you're looking for somebody who does flat fees for pay-per-click management per month, who gives you the ability to start out at a low budget for clicks. If you only want to spend $10 a day, you should be able to spend $10 a day. Get the landing page. Don't use your traditional website for pay-per-click unless it was designed for pay-per-click for whatever reason or it really works well. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. Someone who will give you monthly or weekly reporting, whatever you desire. Monthly conference calls for review. You should absolutely be on the phone with the folks that do your pay-per-click management once a month or every 3 weeks or so to talk about how the spend rate, because you don't want to let it get away from you, and your budget, and what kind of action you're seeing on your end versus what they see in the AdWords campaign, so that you can make adjustments with your team, with a human being, and not rely on a computer to do all this for you. You need education on measuring your return on investment. If you're not sure what the return on investment is for pay-per-click, let somebody talk you through it and ask you the pertinent questions so that you learn how to calculate your return on investment for pay-per-click. Don't just think that you know exactly how to do it. You talk to somebody who's been doing it for a long time and let them walk you through it. And of course, just as I had mentioned before, work with a group that knows your industry. Oh, and I can spell your wrong. Isn't that nice? How about that for in the recording and everything? Haha. Okay, so a group that knows your industry but doesn't know how to spell. So make sure that you work with some folks that actually understand what it's like to hire a caregiver, what it's like when a family walks into an elder law firm, someone who knows what it's like when folks buy long-term care insurance or when their parents didn't buy long-term care insurance, someone who understands how happy seniors are when they get a reverse mortgage for the right reasons, and someone who understands why adult children of aging parents are very wary. And seniors are very wary of reverse mortgages, and rightfully so in some cases. So if you are going to work with folks who are going to handle your funds and your pay-per-click, make sure they've worked in your industry, because it really does make a difference. Okay, next step. Talk to us about your lead needs, because I know you all have lead needs. And for those of you who are our clients, new or old or however long you've been with us, everybody's lead needs are different and budgets are different, and we do different things for different folks, so we understand that. And let us run a cost-effective, highly optimized campaign on a low budget so that you can see the difference in management styles. And if you want to have us help you out with that, the number is 888-404-1513. You can talk to George at ltcep.com, or you can email me at Valerie@ltcep.com if you want, but 888-404-1513. You can even call it tonight. We won't answer. It's after hours, but you can leave a message for George or for myself, and we'll get back to you. And we'd be happy to walk you through it, look at what you currently have, what you don't have, what you're looking for, what your budget numbers are. And I would say that if I had to tell you, and by the way, folks, if you haven't shared a question, if you haven't written a question in, go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and put in your questions, and we'll go through and answer them. So type in your questions now, and we'll go through and answer them. So If you've already have a campaign running, we can look at a campaign that's already running. If you don't have a campaign running, have never done it before, we can look at your budget. I will tell you this. I had mentioned earlier that $10 a day is a place to start for some folks. And if you think about that, that's about $300 a month on clicks alone, not to mention management fees. So you're looking at spending a minimum, or at least $300 a month at $10 a day. So if you want to know what your budget needs to kind of look like in order to have a landing page that converts, to have and also have a good set of numbers and to have a good return on investment, the minimum I would say to get into that is $300 a month. If you go lower than that, if say you went to $150 a month on pay-per-click, you're looking at $5 a day. And to be honest with you, it depends on your area that you live in. It depends on lots of different things. But $5 a day is going to get you just maybe a couple of clicks, and then you're out of the game for the rest of the day. So be very careful. Understand your budget and what the reality is as to what it's going to cost. But again, if you work with the right team and not people who just are relying on the computer system to manage you, then you will get a better return on investment because folks will actually be giving you suggestions, cutting when they can, helping you get rid of things you don't need, adding things in that you absolutely do need, and making sure that you're not paying for things like job seekers and stuff like that. So does anybody have any questions? If you could type your question in on the questions section there. If you have a question, go ahead and type it in, and I will answer as many questions as I can. And right now, the only one I have is, what is the cost of using your service to manage a pay-per-click campaign for a small startup? Of course, someone's going to ask me that question. Thank you, Alex. It depends on who you are. If you are a current client, we do not charge a setup fee. It depends on what kind of client you are. So before everybody runs to, if you're one of our advanced ultimate Alzheimer's program type clients, we do not charge a setup fee. We just charge a monthly fee. And our monthly fee is static at $200 a month. That's what we charge because we do all of this every single week by hand and with thought and with you as a team. And then if you are not a current client and you need a landing page and you need to start up and you need all kinds of other things, which we don't separate out, we want to do the best we can for you. And so we charge a $500 setup fee now, and then $200 a month. Now, I have seen folks that are all over the board. If you look up pay-per-click costs, like management fee costs, what do people charge? The bigger firms are not even wanting to look at you if you're not willing to spend $1,500 a month on pay-per-click, and they're charging a percentage of that as their management fee. Some people start at $395 a month. I've seen some that start at $1,000 a month. I mean, these are folks that know what they're doing. It's not to say that they don't, and they are for bigger companies typically that do pay-per-click. So it just depends on who you are. We actually focus on the small business owner, as you all know, in the senior care business, the guy on Main Street who needs his phone to ring, who needs more leads, who needs more people walking in the door to buy whatever service or product that he or she sells. We don't typically work with big corporations. We strictly work with you folks that are business owners who are struggling in this economy. So we understand completely, and that's why our prices are low. So that's what we charge. Anybody else have any questions? This is your opportunity to ask anything you want. You just have to type it in. Your existing programs are creating great results for the city where our office is located in the nearest largest city. Is pay-per-click the best way to be on the first search page in the other small cities around me? I would say, Hank, that if you wanted to experiment with some pay-per-click in the smaller cities around you, you can. Probably, I would say that even in some of your main area that you service, it would be good to have an ad running maybe until you see that actual natural result get to where you want it to be. But yeah, you can experiment with it in any little bitty city that you want in a I don't know how low the radius goes, maybe a 10-mile radius, 25-mile radius. You can do that, and you can narrow it down to a really low radius. So yes, you can absolutely narrow it down. I was also going to talk about, and Hank asking that question reminded me, I was going to talk to you all about the difference between Google AdWords and Facebook advertising. And I just want to mention this. Google AdWords and Facebook are different because of the following. With Google AdWords, they know a lot about you as an individual if you use Google. If you use Google products like Gmail and Google Docs and some of the other things, if you have a profile set up, they know a lot about you. But there are many of you out there that simply use Google for search and search alone. So they don't know anything about you. You can go on Google search anytime you want. They don't know who you are. You don't know your age. They might know where you live, but that's about it. With Facebook, Facebook knows who you are. They know exactly what your age is, probably, or somewhere around there. They know where you live. They know a lot about the likes and dislikes that you have. They know the groups that you're involved with. They know the friends that you talk to. They know a lot about you. So the Facebook advertising is more about making sure you understand the interest level of the people that you're seeking. And Google AdWords is more instant in that when people are immediately searching for something in their local area, that you want to be the one to show up. So Facebook is a more educated, educated as far as who those people are you're actually targeting. And Google has an advantage in that it's instant. It's what they're searching for right then. It's their immediate need, and you can solve it. So you have to. There is a very different approach to each of these types of advertising. Just wanted to let you know. And we do Facebook, and we do set up websites within Facebook for our clients who do Facebook advertising. And I love it. Our clients love it. And you can end up paying anywhere from $35 a week is the lowest I've seen. But the return on investment, or the, I guess I should say the effectiveness of it takes longer, and it requires more of your involvement, because Facebook is about being social, whereas Google AdWords is pretty hands-off as far as being social. Who cares who you are at that point? But in Facebook, it is about what you do and how you serve your community. So Facebook requires more hands-on time and energy by far, whereas Google AdWords is about algorithms and numbers, which we can generate in programs that we have, but it requires a hands-on approach from the perspective of trying to decrease your cost per click. So just a little difference there. Okay, what is included in $500 setup fee for a pay-per-click campaign? Alex, what's included in that is the setup of the entire pay-per-click AdWords. When you start up with Google AdWords, you have to actually set up your dashboard and all the stuff that goes with it. You have to do your keyword research. That takes us, a couple of hours in just going through and making sure you have a competitive analysis. You also need to set up the landing page, which is no short order. So there's all kinds of things that go into a setup of a pay-per-click campaign. And then once you're off and running, it takes, if you're paying somebody about $50 an hour and they spend about 4 hours a month on your pay-per-click campaign, that's a very good partner to have on your side, because they're going to save you money every time. So it costs about, $50 an hour for $200 total per month for us to manage everything and take care of it for you, talk to you on the phone, make sure you get all the reporting that you need, save you money wherever we can, find out what, if the telephone's ringing, if it's not ringing, what kind of phone tracking you're receiving. We set up all the phone tracking, by the way, 800 numbers, local number, whatever it is you like. We make sure that we have all of it tracked. So every time your phone rings, we know if it came from your pay-per-click yet. So that is what's included. It's just a lot of work on the front end. For our current clients, we do not charge a setup fee because we have a lot of that data already from doing all of their natural search engine keyword analysis and setup, and we know our clients extremely well because we work with them very closely. So we know them, and we don't have to do as much back-end research. Is the Facebook pay-per-click campaign more effective than Google? I would say that the Facebook campaign is only more effective for people who are willing to participate. It's not going to be very effective if you are not into Facebook. If you will not participate with us, you will not engage with the people on your fan page and tell them all about your day, your services, your senior fairs, your blah, blah, blah. If you're not into Facebook, Facebook advertising in a service environment for seniors is probably not going to be as helpful for you. Google's probably your way to go. If you're very into Facebook, you love it, you're interacting with people on Facebook, and you know you can be coached into how to handle it from an advertising perspective, then you're going to do just fine. But I would say that for a beginner, for a startup, experimenting with pay-per-click, I would go the easy way, which is not that easy, but it's easier than managing Facebook by far to me, and that is by doing a Google AdWords campaign to get your feet wet. How do you distinguish us from the how do you distinguish us from the many lead vendors that claim to have dozens of ad spots all over the net? They may have 25 different click ads that all go to them. Steve, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I see. Lead vendors, meaning like Elder Care Link and home care profile. Is that what you mean? You can answer me, Steve, by saying yes or no. I think that's what you mean. Actually, the way you distinguish yourself, iLeads.com. Okay, the way you distinguish yourself is because there's two things that matter. First of all, when you set up the ad, you can talk about relevancy as far as quality, as far as compassionate, locally owned and operated. There's all kinds of things you can talk about in an ad that establish the fact that you're not one of those vendors. And the other thing is that you can, the landing page that's created can be, they're not going to customize everything for you. So if you are looking at someone who just kind of turns and burns through clients, then that's what you're going to get. If you want someone who's going to work with you and make sure your landing page is extremely relevant to you and services you provide for life or long-term care insurance, it's the same. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Whether it's home care, life insurance, long-term care insurance, there are ways to distinguish yourself and your landing page and your ads from a big conglomerate that's just going to slap it up there and they do the same thing for the same guy in a different city every single day. There are ways to distinguish yourself. And I think really the bottom line too is that the service you receive, the personal service, is going to help you learn more about this whole process and then as a result save money and understand what's going on. How do we show up first? First in search, well, if you're talking about pay-per-click, there's a couple of ways. You can pay the highest bid, or you can be the most relevant and pay a little bit more per click. It just depends on you and the location that you're in. If you're in San Diego, California, the answer for you is going to be different from the guy who's in West Winnemucca, North Dakota, or wherever that is. So it's a conversation that you have to have with somebody who's a specialist so they can help you understand more about what they can do for you and how to differentiate yourself. I am new to this. What is a landing page? Sandra, a landing page is a page that people land on when they click on an ad. So for instance, if you go to the Blue Widgets example and you click on the Blue Widgets ad, you will go to a page of a website, and that's the page you land on. Therefore, that is the landing page. Who determines relevancy? Well, Google has some very strict rules about relevancy. It's kind of common sense if you actually read their rules and their terms of service. You can see that they define what relevancy means very closely. In most of the search engines, you'll find like Yahoo and Bing. And by the way, folks, all of this really applies to Microsoft or their advertising too, the Yahoos and the Bings of the world. All of that stuff is, they use similar strategies as Google AdWords does. So they determine what they believe is relevant, and then you follow the rules. And if you don't want to follow their rules, you don't advertise on their site. So it's really not that strict. It's just a matter of common sense. If you're going to talk about Blue Widgets, don't send people to a page that sells yellow ribbons. I mean, that's just the way it is. And it really does make sense because as a consumer, you don't want to be misled when you click on something, and as a person that's paying for that ad, you don't want to be hacking everybody off and getting clicks that aren't going to convert. So relevancy means is good for you, and it's good for me, and it's good for Google. Is this webinar recorded? I missed a part of it and would like to replay it if available. Yes, it is recorded, and yes, you can get the playback. I will send that out as soon as it's done rendering this evening, or probably in the morning. Does anybody else have a question? Anybody else? If not, last call for questions. Type them in. Say yes, and I'll wait. Last call for questions. Questions. How do you create a landing page? You have a professional create one for you. You can create a landing page through Google. You have to have, landing page is something that it requires a little bit of knowledge about how to use the internet and how to use web services and how to create, CSS, WordPress, HTML coding, whatever you're going to use to create that landing page. There's lots of services out there that'll do it. If you work with a company that's going to do this for you, they already know how to create a relevant landing page that actually meets your needs and meets the client's needs. You don't have to be an expert in creating landing pages. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Any contractual obligations for your terms? No contractual obligations for our terms except that, there's a few minor ones, like we don't lock you in for 6 months or anything like that. But if you turn our services off, your landing page goes away. But you can own the URL if you want. So in other words, if you buy NewYorkLongTermCareInsurance.com or something like that, we'll put the landing page there. You own that. It's yours. But the landing page is turned off, just like with any service. So the $500 setup fee includes the landing page. Yes, Alex, the $500 setup fee does include a landing page. Absolutely. Thank you. You're welcome. Steve, and I think my box is too small. It's cutting everybody's names off. Steven, you're very welcome. And all of you, thank you very much for being here this evening. I hope you got lots of great, thanks. I'm going to hire you, Valerie. Thanks, Alex. I hope you got a lot of great information. We appreciate you being here. If there's anything that we can do for you, whether it's answer a question or help you get started with pay-per-click so you can get those leads rolling in your door, let me know. Valerie at ltcep.com. You can email my partner George at ltcep.com, or you can just call 888-404-1513 and leave us a message. We'll call you back tomorrow or the next day whenever you're available at whatever number you leave for us, and we can get you started down the road of getting those leads in the door so that you're not, paying too much, and also so that you're not wondering how this can be effective. It really can be if you team up with the right folks. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.